find your way back home.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to Eat Sleep Profit. I am Jay, and today we're going to be talking about watch list building and scanners. So this is going to be my preparation phase of what I do before the trading day opens, knowing which stocks to look at, how to set up my scanners so I can actually find those specific stocks, and the process after that, basically, of trading them accordingly. So once you actually look for patterns and see those stocks that are on those watch lists, set up those specific patterns, you're able to jump on those trades very, very early and have a better profit potential. So that's what I'm going to be going over in this video today. But first off, always giving credit where credit is due. Shout out to me, but I mean, this is really not like a video just to really gloat. I mean, this process has been a long time. I mean, hitting $500,000 in profit, even as impressive as that is, I mean, there's people that have been way past what I've gone. But the fact is, it just shows you that if you build a routine and just work on self-sufficiency all the time, just constantly refining yourself, looking at your account statements, looking at the trades you win out, and kind of perfect that strategy, just become the best at what you know you actually are able to profit on, the sky is basically the limit. So even today, everybody always asks me for advice, and I usually tell them the same thing, like start off slow, learn the game first, don't depend on an alert, and don't be a sheep, be a wolf. So you really want to be able to be self-sufficient at trading. Now, another shout out to Vincenzo17 is a guy I've been working with a lot, always asking me questions. I'm always answering, just guiding him through a way a lot, just steering away from a lot of bad paths that I've gone through, especially, and just going over him, being able to really move away from the keyboard. Let's say if the market is down, or just like he said, like the S&P was down a lot, and a lot of stocks weren't moving, so able to really sit back and not trade and not force trades and have unnecessary losses. That's a real good trait to really have and to develop, because it keeps your consistency just in order all the time. So shout out to Vincenzo, man. I want you to hit the top, bro. And shout out to TradeZilla. You can't win at trading trying to learn someone else's strategy. Perfect your craft first, and thank you, Eat Sleep Profit. And this guy, I mean, we just went over like a one-on-one session just like yesterday. But just going over, I mean, a lot of times other people's strategies won't work for you just because they have different account sizes, different experience levels. I mean, a lot of factors come into play. So the fact is, you have to find what works for you, then kind of refine it to the point where it's just yours. Like, you want to really be the master of that strategy. So once you get that edge, once you see there's an edge to be taken advantage of, then from there you really want to stick with that and refine it. Don't really branch off into other ways and try to learn to do this strategy and this strategy. You really want to stick with that and stay hard on it, and just time and time again develop that routine, being consistent with it, and it will pay off. That's really how it goes. But just going over everything, now we're going to get into the video. Watch list building, scanners. Let's go. So watch list building. So how do I set up my watch list? This is the question I get every single day on social media, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. How do I set up my watch list? So the first thing you're going to need with any type of watch list is some form of scanner to scan pre-market and post-hours activity and trading. So out there's tons of paid for scanners. Like, you have Trade Ideas, you have Equifeed, you have tons of different companies that sell pre-market scanners. Now, they're going to be a little bit pricey. I know Trade Ideas is around $149 a month for the gold or professional platform. For those, a lot of other ones range around $80 to $100 a month usually for their platforms. Now, I know trading doesn't really have to be expensive, and there's ways to get around that. Since I use the Thinkorswim platform, they have it's not really built in a pre-market scanner or after-hour scanner, but there's a way to set up your watch list so they can actually scan for pre-market and after-hours trading. So usually what I do is I go to Market Watch. On that tab, usually you're going to have the quotes open. There's alerts, visualize, all these different type of ones that I usually never use. I usually go to quotes. Then from there's going to be a section where you get to search by different industries, indices, any different type of sectors and such. What I usually go to is lovers and losers, all the way in that tab right here, and go to post-market or pre-market movers. Usually I go to pre-market if it's early morning. So in the early morning, I'll go to pre-market movers. Then since I already have my watch list set up, you're going to want to right click on this little grayed out area that says symbol, net change volume. Any one of these, just hit right click on there and hit the customize. So from there, then you should pull up this tab. Now this tab is going to show you the current set. These are going to be all the parameters that you're currently looking at on this scanner. Like you can see all these different values. This is basically what it's going to be showing you. Now all of these are basically fine on here. I know you have 52-week high, 52-week low, open, close, all these. 52-week high, low, high. A lot of these are redundant. You really don't need these as much. The main ones you're going to need are mark and mark percent change. So these two different ones, you get to look up the column over here. So if I can type in MARK, mark, you'll see mark percentage change or underlying value, mark change, these different values. What I really want on here is mark and mark percentage change. So this is really going to show me the price difference and price action during post market and pre-market trading. So once I have those two values, those two different I don't know what you would actually call those two different parameters really in there. And so you have your mark and your market percentage change in there. I usually hit OK. Once you have that, then your watch list should look like this. What I usually like to have it set up as is mark percentage change. I'm going to be looking for that. So you can have it set by alphabetical order. You can set it by net change, volume, the highest volume, open, close, any of those. I don't worry about those. Those are usually redundant and really have no value to me. What I'm really looking for is percentage change. So usually I'm going to have percentage change sets so I can actually look at it from the highest percentage change. So you can see right here, the highest percentage change right here is 25%, 18%, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, going from there. And the top stock on there that's actually able to read the value. I know some stocks you'll see on here like NIK, Sensex, GSPC, all these ones, they don't have a actual percentage change for them. I don't know what's wrong. I think that's just with the Thinkorswim scanner. Sometimes they mess up and act stupid like this, but that's really just the cost of really not having a paid for scanner. Usually a lot of guys, they kind of weed some of this stuff out, but you can really see the first value or the first stock on there worth looking at is going to be Gale. So GALE. Then from there you have MICT, OCRX, LIVE. And usually these stocks that are gapping up from the previous day or in pre-market trading, they're going to basically show up on these scanners. So I have OCRX, LIVE, MICT, GALE, all on the scanners. And usually on my watch list, a lot of the stocks that are the top results from this pre-market scanner, these are going to be the ones I'm going to put on the watch list. So you can see Gale Gale was up around 30% or so at its peak. Now, I mean, it's fallen a good bit. So if I was to look at Gale right now, Gale is back down to the 240s. So, I mean, even though the stock this morning, you can see in the pre-market trading, the stock went from yesterday's close at 198 around 195, and it peaked off at 2.6 during the pre-market trading. So this is always a good aspect to know which stocks are really going to spill over, and a lot of some of that movement is going to move over into the morning time. So my watch lists are really built on a pre-market type of scanner. So learning how to set up a pre-market scanner or setting something up so you're able to look for pre-market activity, combined with looking at the previous day's runner. So this is like yesterday, look for what stocks were actually running during the day. So I know MBRX was running yesterday. A lot of other stocks were moving. So keeping those on the watch list as well. And at the same time, whenever you see stocks that are moving in the pre-market sector, they're usually accompanied by some form of news report. So this is a little cheating little tip I like to give guys, especially if you're ever just stuck in a place where you're always looking for news. Let's say you're trolling, not trolling, but you're scrolling a lot of websites like seekingalpha.com or CNBC or a lot of these stock news websites. The fact is, it's very, very hard to really find specific news for the price range that you're looking at for stocks. Let's say like the stocks I like to look for is between 10 cents and $10. So you're usually going to cover your penny stocks and small caps. So it's kind of hard to find that specific news that's going to be worthwhile. And the fact is, so many companies throw out news reports that really don't even do anything to the stock price. It's kind of like you're really panning for gold, basically. So the fact is, with me, how I look at it is, if the news is good enough and the news is worthwhile, the pre-market activity would show that. So rather than looking for the news first, I look for the pre-market activity first. So you can see the stock's gapping up from 1.95 all the way to 2.6. Then I look at the news for the stock. You can see it's accompanied by some form of news report. So you can see Gale 401 receives FDA approval. So a big news for this stock. So automatically the pre-market activity should reflect some form of reaction to that news. So rather than looking for the news through other websites, I just jump on Thinkorswim, look at the pre-market scanner. From there, see what stocks are at the highest, look at the news, then from there, plan the trade. And that's exactly how it goes. So with that pre-market scanner, especially most of the stocks you're going to put on your watch list are going to come from these. Now, there's a range that I like to look for, at least stocks like around 15% to around 30%. Within that range are really going to be the stocks I'm really looking for. There's some stocks that gap up 70, 80%, sometimes 100%. Those, I'm still going to be looking on those on the watch list, but the fact is I'm going to be very wary of trading those just because the fact that the stock is up 100% overnight, it can cause a lot of selling whenever the actual market opens. So I'm really not looking to jump into that stock right out of the gate. I'm never looking to jump into any stock out of the gate. So the fact is, I want to be very, very wary of very, very high gap ups. I like a little range, little gap up range that I usually like to stick within to. So around 15% all the way to around 30% or so. So I mean, you can see all these stocks: Gale, MICT, OCRX, JNUG, Live. So all these stocks you're really going to be looking at. Now, going over the scanners, especially, how do I set up my scanners? So I know Thinkorswim scanners, this scanner right here is going to be an intraday scanner. So it's not going to work in the pre-market sector or the after hour sector. Now, I know you can set it up to do that, but I mean, it's a lot of different stuff you really have to do. I know there's different tutorials on that, but I'm just really going over the simplistic basis of setting up this scanner. Now, how I like to set up my scanner is looking for penny stocks and small cap stocks, usually within a certain amount of price range, and looking for volume. Then from there, actually sorting the stocks out. So if I can actually, let me see if I can erase all this and set it up from setting up from the beginning. So usually I add filter for the stock. The first filter I usually like to add is last. So last is going to be the price that the stock is traded at. So the last price the stock was traded at, that's going to be the last filter. And I usually like to keep that between 10 cents. Let's see if I can set this up. 10 cents and around $10. So from 10 cents to $10, that's usually going to be my range of stocks that I like to actually trade. And it's going to really cover a lot of your penny stocks. Usually in a good enough price range where they can move enough, and a lot of your small caps as well, but it's not going to really focus on those sub penny stocks that get very, very sketchy, and usually those higher price stocks like in the $15 to $20 per share that take a lot of capital to make a lot of money. So just imagine like a $2 per share stock. I buy 1,000 shares, the stock goes up to $3, I make $1,000. Now if you have a $10 per share stock, I'll buy up 1,000 shares, that's 10 grand worth of capital. It goes up $1 per share, now it's worth 11 grand, I made $1,000. But the fact is I have to spend $10,000 to make 1,000, while with a $2 stock I only have to spend 2,000 to make 1,000. So I mean, $1 per share moves kind of differ, especially with the proportions to the stock price. So that's usually why I usually don't want to focus on these very, very higher price stocks like Apple or Netflix. A lot of people ask, do I trade those? I'm like, hell no. So the fact is I really want to focus on this nice little price range over here. Now from there I usually have stock price on last, add another filter to the stock, and it's going to be volume. So volume is how many shares are passed back and forth through the day. So it's a accruing value. So with the stocks I like to look for, at least bare minimum, I want to have the stock have at least 100,000 volume. So any stocks below that, it's usually common knowledge that stocks below 100,000 volume usually are going to be very, very illiquid, and it's almost borderline impossible to trade. Now the max value, I have no max value for those. I usually just put all nines within the actual box and just let it go from there. Usually it's not going to give me any upwards cap. I never had any problem with missing stocks because the stock was over 100 million volume. Rarely does that. I mean, rarely does that happen. So from there, like if you was to look at, let's say a low volume stock like ETRM, like it's 396,000 volume. So let me go chart this stock up. You can see the chart is going to be very back and forth-ish, bouncing around. Now, if you see a stock that has a whole bunch of volume like Gale, then you can see the stock chart is kind of very, very fluid in nature. So it just shows you volume kind of messes with volume is going to just show you how many shares have passed back and forth, and it makes the chart very, very fluid. So you don't have to worry about very, very sketchy charts that's moving up and down constantly, and a lot of dashes here and there, and a lot of empty space. Usually the space is going to be filled up with price action. So that's really going to be how my scanners are set. Now, whenever you go to actually scan, usually you want to set your show to at least 2,000. So it shows every single stock that the scanner actually can pick up. I know whenever you hit 2,000 and you hit scan from there, it will always ask, oh, it's going to take a lot of memory and it can mess up the performance of your computer. If you have if you had at least 8 gigabytes worth of RAM, you should be perfectly fine. So I've never had a problem with my computer working slow just because I scan a lot. Sometimes I have 2 or 3 scanner windows open and my computer runs perfectly fine, and it's nothing real special. So the fact is, you really don't want to be scared of the little prompt window that pops up. Then from there, I hit yes. It should pop up the whole scan, and it should be loading from there. Now, I know whenever it's the first time you scan, it's going to be sorted by alphabetical order. So you'll see AAC, AAU. Then from there, everything is sorted in alphabetical order. The fact is, having the stock sorted in alphabetical order has no use to me. So the best use that I do is to click on the percent change tab. So from the percent change tab, you'll see the biggest losers, the biggest winners. Then from there, you can have everything set up where you can watch stocks as they are moving and as the percent change is growing. Because overall, even net change, how the price of the stock, how much it's moved, to me, doesn't really give me the full effect of really knowing if this stock is going to be profitable or not. So if it's $100 stock and it moves $2 per share, I mean, that's only 2%. But if you have a $1 stock moving $2 per share, I mean, that's 200 something percent or so, like that. So the fact is, it just shows you that percent change is really the most important aspect that you're looking at. Now, sometimes on the scanner, you'll see crazy percentages like this, like 5,000%. Most of those are reverse splits. So if I was to look at this chart, you'll see the stock just basically shoot out of nowhere from like 4 cents all the way to 2.7. It's just a reverse split. Basically what happens is they'll cut down the amount of shares in proportion to the stock price that is being raised. You just Google reverse split and it'll explain everything about it. So I mean, it's pretty simple. But usually once you get around on the scanner, let me let it load. Usually once you get around like the 100% and below that, usually it's all going to be real price action. Then from there, that's how I hit my scans. Now, even if you can just see how relatively easy it really is, especially doing your watch list. This morning, I mean, it was at 8:22 that I put out the watch list. What's up, guys? Today I'm watching GALE, good FDA trial news. Looking for a break of 2.6 to run at $3 per share. May sell off out the gate. I mean, high up in the pre-market, you always want to be wary of that. MICT, low float in the PM. Large purchase order news. Watching VBio for a bounce play. And NDEV still scanning for new movers. Let's get it. So the fact is, if you look at Gale, for example, a lot of people ask, well, how do you know what's going to blow up? Oh, how do you know this and that? And are you some guru, or are you seeing into the future and stuff like that? It's not hard to really build a worthwhile watch list. You just have to be able to know and be able to find good pre-market activity stocks. Make sure the actual news report actually supports that movement. So I still want news to be accompanied by that. And usually just simple patterns of price action that usually are very, very consistent, like just waiting for the stock to break the pre-market high. Just something as simple as that. So once that stock breaks the pre-market high, you can jump into the stock and boom, at 2.6. I know the pre-market high was at around 2.6. So at that area, if you jump in, let's say late at 2.62 or 2.63, knowing what you're risking off the open, boom, you can actually have a very successful trade all the way to the $3 per share, 3.6, all the way at the top. So it's not hard to really know which stocks are going to run. The hardest part really is going to be trading the stock, and that's really not even going to be the hardest part. The hardest part is really going to be staying consistent every single day, playing the same old plays and doing that. So there's a hierarchy of difficulty with these stocks. So watch lists are the easiest things. I can build watch lists all day. So the fact is, once you learn how to actually do that, especially knowing how to look at the pre-market activity with these stocks, knowing how to set up that Thinkorswim's little watch list, going to lovers and losers, going to pre-market movers, setting it up so you can actually, on the customize tab, setting up so you can see mark percentage change, have that set up, have it sorted by percentage change. Once you do that, highest percentage change from there, you can see GALE at the top. It was on the top all morning. So, I mean, this is going to be something I'm really going to be looking at first thing. That's why it was the number one thing on my watch list. So GALE, good FDA trial news, looking for a break of 2.6 to run to 3. And if you look on the charts, that's exactly what it did. It broke 2.6, the pre-market high, ran to 3, broke 3, and went all the way to 3.6. So I'm not really some guru that just knows these stocks and it's a secret formula. This is pretty easy to really learn. Now, what's really going to be the Next difficulty is really knowing when to get in, when to get out. I have other videos on that I'll link in as well. And the fact is staying consistent, which I have videos on that and how to do that as well. So I hope this video is very, very helpful. If you guys like it, I mean, hit the like button. If you want more videos, just comment. Any questions? I mean, if you just need any trading advice, hit a comment. I'm usually going to reply. Hit me on Twitter. Follow me at Eat Sleep Profit. I'll be able to ask any questions, and you can just follow me, follow the whole journey that I'm doing. But I mean, it's not really hard to do these watch lists, and you can see. I mean, right when Gale started to move at 8:31, I was right on top of Gale at 8:31. So right when the market opened, boom, right there. Gale broke the pre-market. Everybody asking if I got in. One of my guys, Joe, he got in at 256, sold at 318, quick 250. So I mean, it's not some super huge hard strategy and this and that. It's real simple. It's just the routine, day in and day out. That's all you got to do, guys. But this is Jay from Eat Sleep Profit signing off.
back home.